Today I'm going to show you everything you need to know to use the Insta360 Mic Air properly, what hidden features it has, and how to get the most out of the Mic Air. And you'll be surprised how many features this little thing has. This video is divided into 10 parts, which correspond to the 10 best features of the Mic Air.
The Insta360 Mic Air is currently available in two versions. Either just a standalone transmitter, in other words the actual microphone, which you can connect directly to various cameras via Bluetooth, or the transmitter in combination with a receiver, which you can use to connect the Mic Air to other devices such as smartphones. We will take a closer look at how the receiver works later on, but regardless of whether you have purchased the microphone with or without the receiver, it always comes with the same accessories. And we will now take a closer look at these. Of course, the carry case, in which you can store the microphone and accessories. A charging base with which you can charge the transmitter. To do this, simply place the transmitter on the charging base so that the contacts are perfectly aligned. A red light will now appear on the transmitter. A fully charged transmitter has a runtime of up to 10 hours when used with the receiver, and up to 7.5 hours when connected via Bluetooth to the X5, for example. You should use the WindShield to reduce wind noise. You don't always need it, but it can be very useful when it's windy or to reduce wind noise when biking, for example. You use it by pushing the Mic Air in so that the button on the side of the transmitter is exactly in line with one of the two buttons on the side. That is when the writing under the muff is aligned straight. And before you get annoyed if the wind muff has fallen off, you can only reattach it correctly if the microphone is installed in the rubber ring. Then it will hold quite well. If the microphone is not in the rubber ring, the wind muff will not hold.
So this is a test of the Mic Air with the WindShield installed. And this is a test of the Mic Air without the WindShield installed.
You use the remaining accessories to attach the transmitter. The back of the transmitter is magnetic. You can attach it to your shirt in several ways, for example with this button magnet. You place it under your shirt and can then easily attach the transmitter. Ideally, the Insta360 lettering should be straight, because then the actual microphone is on the top. This magnetic pendant works in a very similar way, except that you wear it around your neck like a necklace. And then there is this clip. This can also be magnetically connected to the transmitter, and then you clip it to the top of your shirt, for example. For a simple t-shirt, I personally prefer the button magnet. You just have to be careful not to lose this little piece. Okay, now we've charged the Mic Air and attached it. But we should actually connect it to a device first. Let's take a quick look at the transmitter in detail. One of the Mic Air's strengths is that it's very simple and easy to use. It only has one button here on the side. As already mentioned, the actual microphone is located on the upper side. If you press the button for 2 seconds, the transmitter switches on. The LED light starts to flash slowly in dark blue. Dark blue stands for Bluetooth. If it flashes, this means that it's not connected. To connect the microphone for the first time, you should switch it off. To do this, press the button again for 3 seconds. I am now connecting the Mic Air to the Insta360 X5. It can currently also be connected to the Ace Pro 2 via Bluetooth. Other devices will certainly be added at a later date. Switch on the X5, open the settings by swiping from the top to bottom, and go to the third page on the right. Here you tap on Bluetooth and at the bottom on Bluetooth headset microphone. The camera now switches to search mode. Now take the transmitter and press and hold the button for at least 6 seconds. This switches the transmitter on and enters pairing mode. The LED light on the transmitter starts to flash blue quickly. You may need to restart the camera scan. And the Mic Air is recognized by the X5 and you can connect it. As soon as it is connected, the LED stops flashing and lights up continuously. You only have to go through this procedure the first time. As soon as the microphone has been activated once, it will automatically connect the next time you switch on both devices. So the microphone and the camera. So we switch both devices off and on again. And it connects automatically, as you can see from the message above. The volume of the input signal is also shown here on the display. What's really cool is that the microphone has a kind of integrated limiter. This means that very loud noises are reduced. The indicator will therefore never hit the far right. Clipping is thus successfully prevented. On the other hand, if you speak softly, the signal tends to be amplified. This is a very good solution. If necessary, you can still adjust the volume on the camera. I'll show you how to do this later. One of the very special strengths of the Mic Air is that you can use it like a remote, and it's really easy to do. As soon as the transmitter is connected, you briefly press the button on the side once and the recording is started. Press it again to stop the recording. If you are in photo mode, a short press will take a photo. And there is another extremely useful feature, Bluetooth Wake Up. If both devices are switched off and you switch on the Mic Air, in other words the transmitter, the camera will also switch on automatically. And this can be extremely useful, as the camera does not have to be switched on all the time if it is attached to a mount that you cannot easily reach, for example. However, more remote control functions are not available, although you usually don't need more. With a Bluetooth connection, as here with the X5, the maximum range is 30 to 50 meters. Depending on the situation, and even that should usually be enough. Basically, the Mic Air has 3 modes. A standard recording mode, in which it is currently in. You can recognize this by the continuous dark blue light. It also has a noise reduction mode, and you can mute it, meaning you can temporarily deactivate it, even though it is connected. As soon as the microphone is switched on and connected, activate noise reduction by briefly pressing the button twice. The color of the LED now changes from dark blue to green. As the name suggests, the noise reduction mode is intended to reduce background noise. So let's listen to what that sounds like.
I am standing close to a river now, and this shot is taken without noise reduction. This is the same shot like before, but now I've turned noise reduction on. Can you hear a difference?
You deactivate noise reduction by briefly pressing the button twice again. The LED now changes color back to blue. To deactivate the audio recording, so to mute the microphone, briefly press the button on the side 3 times. The color of the LED light now changes to red, and the microphone no longer records sound. If you briefly press the button 3 times again, you switch back to normal recording mode. So dark blue, standard recording. Press twice, noise reduction. Press 3 times, mute. If the Mic Air is connected to the X5 or the Ace Pro 2, you can adjust a few additional settings on the camera. I'll show you this again on the X5. Open the settings and switch again to the 3rd page on the right. Here you will find the audio settings. And here you can activate dual track radio. I currently have 2 Mic Air microphones connected to the X5. One via Bluetooth and one here via the receiver. If you have dual track radio activated, both audio tracks are recorded. If you don't have a second external microphone connected, the audio track of the internal microphone is simply recorded as the second audio track. However, only the audio track of the microphone connected via Bluetooth is automatically added to the video file. You can add the second audio track via Mixer in the Insta360 app. Here below you can adjust the volume of the input signal via gain adjustment, whereby, as I said, the Mic Air is hardly clipping anyway, and there is no distortion. To ensure that the microphone works properly, you should also keep the firmware up to date. I'll show you how to update the firmware in a moment. Before that, let's take a look at this receiver and how it works. With the receiver, you can use the Mic Air not only via Bluetooth on various Insta360 devices, but also, for example, on a smartphone, on other cameras, or even here on my Mac. For example, for a video conference. The receiver therefore considerably expands the possible uses of the Mic Air. What's interesting is that you can also use the receiver with the X5, for example. But why would you do that? It's not because of the audio quality. I compared the recording with a receiver with a recording without a receiver, and they sound identical. Firstly, you can use 2 Mic Airs on the camera with the receiver as described. And then the receiver also has the advantage that it extends the range from a maximum of 50 meters to up to 300 meters. In most cases, you won't need this when recording with the X5 or the Ace Pro 2, but in general, depending on the situation, the receiver may improve the connection if the camera is far away. How does the receiver work? You charge the receiver here on the right via the USB-C port. It has a button on the left-hand side. The receiver switches on as soon as it is connected to a device. For example, as soon as you connect it to a smartphone. If not, press the button on the side for 2 seconds. The receiver now starts to flash, but it does not flash dark blue, but cyan. You should remember that. This is the receiver color, so to speak. If you now switch on your Mic Air, in other words the transmitter, it may still be set to Bluetooth. It flashes dark blue as shown here and wants to connect to a camera via Bluetooth. To change the connection type, briefly press the button on the transmitter twice. Now the transmitter also changes color to cyan and flashes slowly in cyan. If the 2 devices connect, both stop flashing and light up constantly in cyan. If this does not happen, switch off the transmitter and then press the button for 6 seconds. It will now switch to pairing mode and the LED light will start flashing rapidly. You can activate pairing mode on the receiver in the same way, by pressing and holding the button for 6 seconds. And as I said, as soon as both devices stop flashing, They are connected. The receiver has an additional function. You can control the volume of the recording directly via the button, which is also important because depending on the device, this may not be possible via the software. The 3 small LED lights on the underside indicate the audio input level. As soon as the receiver is connected, you can adjust the volume with a simple press. 1 LED stands for low, 2 for medium, and 3 for high, which means a higher volume. What you should know is that if you have connected the X5 or the Ace Pro to the receiver, the Mic Air cannot be used as a remote. This only works when connected via Bluetooth. On the other hand, you can start a recording or take a photo remotely if you have connected the receiver to a smartphone. If you want to switch back to Bluetooth connection mode after connecting to the receiver, remove the receiver and press the button on the transmitter twice. It will now flash blue again and can be reconnected via Bluetooth. Was that a bit complicated? Here is the most important information again. Dark blue LED stands for Bluetooth connection. Cyan for connection to the receiver. Press once and you start and stop a recording. Press twice and you activate noise cancelling. Press 3 times and you mute the microphone. You can adjust the volume with the button on the receiver. You should update the microphone firmware at certain intervals. This is very simple. Switch off the microphone and start the Insta360 app. The app does not need to be connected to a camera. Tap on Me, and here under Device Settings, you will find the accessory settings. Now you have to connect the microphone. To do this, press the button again for at least 6 seconds and activate pairing mode. The Mic Air should now be found without any problems, and you can update the firmware if it is not up to date. You can also update the receiver in exactly the same way. Connect it to the smartphone and activate pairing mode by pressing the button for 6 seconds. The receiver will then be found quickly and you can update it. I wish you lots of fun with your Mic Air. I hope everything was clearly understandable. Please let me know what you liked and didn't like about this tutorial. Feedback is always important to me, and give me a like if the video was interesting. There will be more Mic Air videos to come, so stay tuned and see you next time.